Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Food 101. Food, people. Let's talk about food. And today, I have my special guest. She's a glam grandma who knows how to get you eat your veggies. And of course, an author too. She's the author of the book Brownies for Breakfast, no other than Miss Lynne Bowman.
Hey, Daniel.
Welcome to Food 101, Miss Lynne. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
Well, I'm a grandma. That's the main thing. And
Yes.
I love to eat like you do, like we all do.
Yes.
But I'm a lazy cook. So, and I'm diabetic, type 2. So the combination is I know how to make all kinds of healthy things easily. And I'm also very frugal. So I don't like to spend a lot of money on my groceries.
Mm.
So the combination is in my book, Brownies for Breakfast, is how to eat great food for less money, less trouble, and have it be healthier. And the recipes are super simple. So I'm laughing to myself that this is not in a kitchen. Normally, when we're talking food, right?
Yes.
It should be in a kitchen. This is my table, one of my tables. Um, but I can talk some recipes here because the ones in the book are so simple.
Yes. Give us some, easy to do recipe, Miss Lynne.
Let me start with one that is 2 ingredients.
Okay,
Okay,
go ahead.
2 ingredients. And what you'll need is a really good balsamic vinegar. And my favorite is an apricot balsamic that I get from a local store. And that's typically, it's going to be something that you buy from um, an artisanal kind of source, a store that you have somewhere near you where they're making their vinegars or they're sourcing their vinegars from a local place. So it's really different and good. They also make a Gravenstein apple vinegar. So number one, and for a lot of reasons, you're going to need in your cupboard a really good balsamic vinegar, which may be different than you've been using.
Hmm.
So that's ingredient one. Ingredient two is tahini, which is nothing but crushed sesame seeds. And if you have been reading at all about healthy food or, doing any kind of study, you know that seeds and nuts are a great thing for you to be eating. So what you do is you take your salad bowl and in the bottom of it, you splush some of this balsamic vinegar. How much? I don't know, a spoonful, 2 spoonfuls, doesn't really matter. Put some in there. And I don't measure a lot of things because I don't think you really need to. So put that in and then put a couple spoonfuls of the tahini, mix it up, and you've got fabulous salad dressing. It doesn't need to sit for any length of time. You don't need to cook it. You don't need to put it in a blender. Just mix it up and then put your greens in on top of it and toss your greens. And I promise you, it'll be maybe the best salad dressing you ever had. It'll be really, really good. So just 2 ingredients, balsamic vinegar, but a good one, and tahini. Boom. You can do that, Daniel.
Yes, I can do that. And thank you so much for sharing that recipe, Miss Lynn. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. How often do you cook, Daniel?
That's why I have a Food 101 and I'm a chef in the daytime. Healthy, balanced diet food.
Yes. And as we've discussed, food is very emotional. People have
Yes.
attachments to their foods, and people cling to the tastes and the smells that they're familiar with and they grew up with. I understand that completely. And in my book, my most recent book, Brownies for Breakfast, I have a couple of recipes that are very traditional, but I think people don't realize how easy they are to do. And another one I'm going to talk with you is mushroom soup.
Oh, wow.
And
I love it.
well, and in this country, most Americans are familiar with mushroom soup in a
Yes.
can. Our moms and our grandmas put mushroom soup and everything out of a can. And so I think a lot of us don't think, okay, that's ordinary, but it's not really that great. So what you do is you slice up mushrooms and you saute them. And I usually just saute them in my soup pot. I don't need another pot. I just saute them in the bottom with some olive oil. You can use butter. That's fine. And then you add some onions. So about the same time, slice up onions and mushrooms. And then you pour broth in. Again, I don't particularly measure. I'll take whatever I've got left in the broth box is usually how I get my vegetable broth. You can use chicken broth if you want, or vegetable broth. Fill it up as much as you want, and then cook it until till everything's tender. Put some salt and pepper in there. But then here's the magic thing: take a couple spoonfuls of bourbon and put that in the mushroom soup. So I
Hmm.
promise you, the combination of just doing it from fresh mushrooms and onions, and then that little hit of bourbon, and your friends will go, "Oh my gosh, this is the most amazing mushroom soup I've ever had. It's so good." And then, of course, you can use it for sauce, as you know, if you make some chicken, you can just pour that mushroom soup over it, or ground beef, or I don't know, so many other things. Open up the fridge. Another
Yes.
another principle for great eating is eat what you have. Don't throw it away. Eat it, before it gets icky.
Hmm.
So open up the fridge and pull stuff out and figure out a way to make a meal out of it. And that doesn't always mean there's a recipe for it, but if you have a sense of how to put things together, you can do that. Another one, of course, is in the book, I call it genius soup. Okay, and you can
Genius
guess why.
soup. Yes.
Genius soup. Because, of course, it's genius, right? And again, you've got uh, just good old onions chopped up, and celery and carrots if you have them chopped up, saute them, put the broth in, let them start cooking, and then open that fridge up and look down in the crisper and see what you've got. And typically, if you've been making an effort, you probably bought some kale or some spinach or some cabbage. Pull it out, chop it, throw it in the soup. Doesn't matter if it's more kale or more spinach or more, it's going to be good, I promise you. And you'll need some tomatoes. So either a can of tomatoes or a box of tomatoes or fresh tomatoes. Chop those, throw them in, and cook it. Low heat for as long as you want, 2, 3, 4 hours. Just let it sit there. And salt and pepper. And you've got a wonderful soup base for the whole week if you want to. So the next day, put some chickpea pasta in there. The day after that, put some olives and some feta, and you can, depending on how you like to flavor things, just put some stuff in there. Put some leftover meat in there. But as long as you have that soup base, you can make a great meal for yourself every day and make it different. You can put
Definitely.
salsa, and chopped up tortillas in it.
Yes. Definitely. And Miss Lynn, what does eating healthy mean to you personally?
It means I'm still alive, and it means
Yes.
quite literally, because I'm looking at 80 now, and I realize more and more I take that for granted, that I'm well, that I'm active and busy and aggravating a lot of people all the time. And to do that, you need to eat well. You really can't do it unless you're fueling yourself well. And plus, why miss the pleasure of food? I mean, isn't that something that we enjoy, most of us, as much as anything in our lives? A good meal. And especially, of course, if it's with somebody you like, um, or somebody new that you might like. I always want to talk to people about, it's not just the food. Food isn't just food, it's connection and love and
Yes.
culture and all these other things. So a recipe, in a way, should always include some company. Food tastes better when you sit down with someone and eat it and share it in a
Definitely.
loving way.
Share your food to anyone that need a nourishment. And Miss Lynn, how can someone start transitioning to a healthier diet without feeling overwhelmed?
That's a great question. And this book has a couple of lists in it. It tells you what to put in your pantry, what to take out of your pantry. In fact, I think what it says in the book is how to get the crap out of your pantry. That's important. Because a big thing is not having the stuff in your home that is going to tempt you that is a bad idea. Get rid of it. Potato chips and sugary foods and snacks that aren't healthy, and what they are. Get rid of them. Get them out, and make something for yourself that's better, healthier. Brownies. They freeze. They last a long time. In the book, there are recipes for cookies and donuts and cakes and all those things. But one of the keys is replacing sugar, completely getting rid of sugar. And if you're going to start to transition to a better diet, a lot of people say baby steps or, gradually. I'm not a believer in baby steps. I think you need to commit and then make a change. And hopefully it's a change where you can see a difference and you can feel a difference. And I promise you, if you quit sugar, you will see a difference and feel a difference in very little time, 2-3 weeks. Yes, you will lose some weight because when you no longer eat anything with real sugar in it, you'd be surprised at how much. I mean, if you just stop drinking soda, it makes a
Yes.
huge difference. But so many people drink coffee every morning. They think they're drinking coffee, but they're drinking sugar and cream with a little coffee on it. If you're making that Starbucks stop regularly, you're probably taking in a lot of food that is doing you no good at all. So if you're going to continue to drink coffee, and I love coffee, but I make good coffee and I drink it black. And there's a lot of science now that coffee is good for you. It's fine. It's
Yes.
healthy. No sugar, no cream.
Yes. And Miss Lynn, what are some common misconceptions people have about healthy eating?
Another great question. I think people think it means deprivation.
Yes. True.
And in fact, when you're eating healthy, you're eating more variety, more quantity, more color, more different kinds of food, more spice. If you quit eating hamburgers every day or fast food every day, you're gonna be forced to kind of experiment with some different things. And if you're eating more vegetables, more fruits, more spices, there's a lot of talk out there now. I'm happy to say about how things like turmeric really are very good for your body. They're also delicious. They also make food look good. So rather than depriving yourself from things, you're going to be discovering things that taste great, that are easy to do, that are inexpensive, that will impress your friends. People will come over and go, I didn't know you could cook. This is amazing. Look at this stuff. Um, it's it's less boring. You know, the only difference is it takes a little thought. It takes a little preparation. You
Yeah.
have to dedicate some time and energy to feeding yourself and your family and your friends. So what? In the end, I think it's less expensive. I know, um, but there are a lot of kind of side benefits. One is it's better for the earth. You know, you're
Better.
you're not creating as much trash. Um, you are not encouraging factory farming, which is behind so much fast food. There's much more talk now about food dyes and so on being bad for you. Yeah, that's right. If you're eating the food that you make from whole food and real food, huge advantage to that. And that may be surprising to think about, that not only are you giving up bad foods because of maybe, wanting to lose weight or wanting to be healthier, but you are no longer supporting a bad food industry. That's a side benefit, right? That's huge.
Yes, for sure. How important is portion control when it comes to maintaining a balanced diet, Miss Lane?
I, I'm not huge on portion control because when you're eating good food, your body will say, thank you, that was good, that's enough. We are so accustomed to eating engineered food, food that is actually engineered to keep us eating. And so, of course, your portion control just kind of goes out the window. If you're eating whole food, real food, you will find that it's kind of hard to eat too much of it. I would defy anyone to sit down to a plate full of beans and broccoli and beets and sweet potatoes and eat too much. You reach a stopping point. Your belly will go, okay, thanks, that's good.
Hmm.
It,
Yes.
it, it's magical in a way. If you're accustomed to being so careful about how many ounces of this and how many grams of that, I don't measure that on my plate. I don't journal about how much I've eaten. I eat till I'm full because I'm eating good food. And that's what I want for you.
Hmm. Yes, definitely. How about meal planning play in eating healthier throughout the week?
Well, we've talked a little bit about eating what you have. And I, again, we're so busy, Daniel. Every mom's, taking kids to their sports things and trying to do and working and so on, and dad's trying to fill in. Aunts and uncles, grandparents were all doing too much, I think. But meal planning becomes easier if you are accustomed to buying what's in season and buying the things that make easily into good meals. You'll find yourself buying the same things basically over and over again, but using them in different ways according to what you brought home that's in season. And for example, tomatoes, fresh tomatoes, they're only worth buying in the summer, in the middle of summer, or otherwise it's canned. What I'm eating right now that I absolutely love is nectarines and pluots and peaches. So, that's what I'm buying and that's what I'm eating at a couple of meals a day. Um, so planning for meals, I think if you plan kind of one one thing, like I talked about the soups, those easily become a casserole. If you're meticulous about this sort of thing, go ahead and plan out those meals using a fabulous book like this, and that's fine. But I think if you focus on buying good whole food and turning it into whatever you want, it becomes so easy. You don't need to make a production of making something yummy out of your food because it's good without a whole lot of interference. It's just good. Um, we talked about the
Definitely.
salad. How simple can that be? And then you throw some frozen shrimp on top of that if you want. It's a
Yes.
meal, or some feta cheese. Boom. Um, I also highly recommend, it's a little difficult for the way most people are living now, but I highly recommend eating less at night, eating much more in the morning and more in the middle of the day, and as little as you possibly can, as early in the evening as you can. And the reason, you and I have talked about this, the reason is because it interferes with sleep if you've got too much in your belly too late in the day. And your sleep, deep sleep, is the only time we heal. So being healthy isn't just eating good stuff, it's eating it at a sensible time and then sleeping. And of course, moving, exercise goes along with all this. It isn't one thing, but certainly in the United States, we have a problem with eating engineered food, crappy food, and fast food all the time. Our kids and all of us.
Yes, definitely. Yes, people eat healthy and start now. So, Miss Lynn, are there a certain superfoods you recommend adding to a daily diet and why?
Oh, that's also a really good question. Superfoods. Well, lentils are great food. Lentils are a thing that, if they haven't been part of your ethnic background, maybe if you're French, lentils because the French eat a lot of lentils. But they are high in protein, high in fiber, inexpensive, delicious. You can keep them in your cupboard forever. They have a great nutrient dense profile. You can eat as much as you want. Throw them in my genius soup, and they're absolutely fabulous. That I consider a superfood. What else? Superfood. Well, dandelion greens,
Yes,
great
they
food,
are. They are.
and they are wonderful in pasta. My new favorite is chickpea pasta, because like many of us, I love pasta and grew up eating pasta, but I can't, on my diabetic program, I can't eat processed flour. And so chickpea pasta is made simply from chickpeas, which are a wonderful food, high protein, high fiber, nutrient dense, and they're this wonderful chameleon food that can sink into soups or um, so many side dishes, so easy to turn them into a wonderful meal really quickly. And kids don't know they're not eating processed flour. They just know that it's, shell shaped noodles. And you can make them look just like macaroni and cheese, but you're making a healthy meal and not something out of a box. So, chickpea pasta, lentils, dandelion greens. Parsley is such good food. It smells fabulous. It's easy to have handy in a bowl on your sink. Snip some off, put it in everything. Ounce for ounce, parsley is as nutrient dense as any food you can buy. It's brilliant food. It smells wonderful. It's so good and pretty.
What are some healthy snacks that are both satisfying and nutritious, Miss Lynn?
Two favorites of mine, pistachios.
Oh, yes.
Pistachios are so wonderful. I eat them for breakfast and I eat them when I'm unable to get a meal together and I'm hungry. Pistachios are good, good food. And they go in salads, they go in sandwiches, just all kinds of things. So I love those. And I'm thinking about, what was the question? Snacks.
Yes,
Fruit. As I said, fruit in season. Uh, so many people are a little funny about fruit. Like, well, it's full of sugar, it's all carby. Fruit is fabulous. It's just source it well, make it organic, make it local if you possibly can, grow it yourself if you can. It's really fun to have a fruit tree or two, and your kids love that. Um, Fruit is a great, great snack, and cheese and yogurt are great snacks. Cheese is a little problematic for some people, cow's milk cheese, but there is so much good goat's milk cheese out there these days. And of course, feta, sheep's milk cheese, great snacks. melt it on stuff or just eat it out of the fridge. And there's enough fat and protein in it that will, keep you from being hungry. It's a meal in a way. Snack is a funny word. Do we mean something in addition to the 2 or 3 meals we're going to have, or instead of a meal? Do we mean something we can just grab and eat and be done with it? I get it, and sometimes we end up doing that. And so in that case, I would say yes, some pistachios, some cheese, a piece of fruit. A carrot. Carrots are really yummy. And you'll have those in the fridge. It's so easy to have a bag of carrots all prepped now. Trader Joe's, highly recommend for having those kinds of things on hand that are good organic snacks. So that's what I'd recommend.
So, Miss Lynn, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in 5th season, abstract poetry in 2nd season, and my book 101 review in 5th season too. Comedy 101 in 2nd season, and my food 101 in 5th season as well. Geography 101 in 4th season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love letters in each 3rd season, and Movie 101 review and Music 101 in 4th season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in each 1st season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Lane, how we do, or how can people shift from seeing diabetic eating as a diet to a sustainable lifestyle, as your book mentioned?
Yeah, diabetic healthy eating is no different than heart disease healthy eating, or kidney disease healthy eating, or weight loss. It's pretty much the same. It's what people typically call the Mediterranean diet, but it just means fruits, vegetables, healthy meats and fish, but not too much meat, whole grains, real food, whole food.
Grains. Miss Lane, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And can you please invite our listeners to support your brownies for breakfast?
It's a pleasure, Daniel. And you can find me on lynnebowman.com, and that lists podcasts and recipes and YouTubes and all that sort of thing. So lynnebowman.com. I'm on Substack also. It's Lynne Bowman. Find me there. And I wish you joyful eating. Enjoy your food, please.
Joyful eating, one of the advocacy of Miss Lynn, and for sure, superfoods. So, Miss Lynn, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for what you're doing.
You are most welcome, and more to come, people. See you soon.